Hello, this is bitbudha back again with another episode of the Blacks in Cybersecurity Podcast. Today we have Sydney Johns, and this has been a guest I've been wanting to get on for like ever, pretty much, because he helps us out a lot at BIC, and also she is a PhD student, and also she told me that she recently started to work at GitHub as well. So I just wanted her to come on and share more of her cyber journey, and I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Sydney, and I have been involved with Blacks in Cybersecurity for about 3 years now. Um, and I'm here to just share my journey and to encourage other people in cybersecurity.
Got it. So, how did you find out about BIC, or what was your like initiation or the first time you even saw BIC?
I first heard about BIC when I visited DEF CON for the first time. I was very excited to go. I was like an aspiring hacker and really wanted to do the capture the flag competition. So I filled out a form for my company to take me to the conference. And I was walking around looking in different villages, which are like different groups that are within DEF CON. And one of them was Blacks in Cybersecurity. And I remember they had like a white Air Force One, and it was like lighting up in multiple colors. I think a lot of people had Air Force Ones on. And I was like, yo, like these people, like they're hella cool. Everybody was really nice. They told me about like a DEF CON party coming up like that night. And I was like, okay, like let me, go and see. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I really want to be a volunteer. So I signed up for that. And then back in like the DMV area, I saw a lot of people at B-sides. And so ever since then, I've kind of just been locked in.
Wow, no, that's a beautiful journey, especially the fact that you got to go there physically and meet everyone physically. I feel like that's definitely the best way to go about it. So, what got you interested in the cyber industry at all, or like the tech industry at all? Like, what was your have you been this way since you were a child, or was it like your family members? Like, what got you into the whole tech and cyber space?
Um, I think I think I've always loved like science and technology. Like I've always liked to read and like build stuff. In high school, I was really big into like robotics. At and my team was one of the only all girls robotics teams. And so when I got into college, I did electrical engineering. I used to fix like cell phones as like a side thing. And one of my teachers encouraged me to get into cybersecurity specifically. It's just started from taking like one class, and I actually really do like it. So I feel like cybersecurity is like another branch within like the technology umbrella.
Yeah, and it's beautiful that you had people who could like guide you and like recommend you on that journey, because doing it by yourself would not have been. I feel like it's easier when you have people to motivate you on that journey. So, besides your teachers, who would you say have been some other guiding figures in your cyber journey?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, I say like a lot of my role models have been like my professors. Like like if I have any professor that looks like me, I kind of make them like one of somebody that I look up to, in a way. So I'll say like a lot of them. Um, and I'll say also friends too, like in different classes. Like if I have friends from my class, they kind of encourage me. Professionally, like I really wanted to build that community or somebody to look up to. Um, I say too, like I'm someone that likes to explore and find like new things to learn. So that's something that will like encourage me to find those mentors is wanting to learn more. I'll find someone to teach me, and then they kind of join my group.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It sounds like you have like a lot of different areas and energies that you pull from, which is really cool. So in cyber, what would you say is your like niche? Because they have some people are in like SOC analysts and penetration testers and reverse engineers. Like there's a million different roles in this industry, but what would you say is your like specific role or niche that you're focused on?
I would say my niche is mainly cybersecurity research. Um, but I've also think that I'm a little bit of like a jack of all trades in a way. Like I've done like front end software development, back end software, reverse engineering. So, and also network security. But I would say mainly like right now, cybersecurity research. And right now, in like my current opportunity, it's good because I can like bring a lot of different areas together.
And so you said that you started at GitHub. So firstly, congrats on that because that's like amazing. All right. So for those of you who don't know what GitHub is, Git is like a version control system to kind of keep track of your code, and GitHub is like the online version of that, pretty much. So majority of companies they have the code on GitHub if it's open source, right? But no, how did you get in? Congrats on getting in, and what are you doing with them currently?
Um, yeah, like I currently help like so Copilot that comes up on your computer. We're looking at the data from users to develop products that are more impactful and more helpful to users. So like we're able to see like like one interesting thing is like trying to track people's productivity based on how many tokens they use. So if someone is using Copilot a lot to say, do this for me, do that for me, does it actually track to how many commits and how much software did they actually post online or they actually, push? So like we're looking at the metrics of different people. I mean, not people, but of users to see. But also we're not looking one user at a time. We're more so looking at like behaviors of a large group so that privacy is definitely being upheld. Um, and I put in like a bunch of different applications to a lot of places trying to see like which one will actually end up happening. I'm currently in the last year of my program, so I was trying to see like what is my full-time job going to end up being. And this one is one that just ended up like connecting or actually getting back to me. The interview process was kind of lengthy. I did 4 different interviews. And I was like, okay, because every single one, I'm thinking like after the first one, they might not call you, and then you do a second one, and then you have to still make it past. So I'm thinking, oh, they probably not gonna call me after like 2 or 3. But I was happy when like by the time I was like at 4, I'm like, okay, this might be good. But it was like a cool process, and I can definitely like explain more if needed. But I say I like my team and I like what I do so far, even though it's pretty new.
And a 4 round interview. That's pretty deep, right? So, is it like all like technical based interviews, or is like culture and personality interviews, or is like a multi panel interview? Like what was the difference between each round?
Yeah, like so the first one is many people study like these short questions and you have to like code live. I was lucky that my for that portion I didn't have to code live, but I like had to log in to this software and they ask you a coding question. And so you have to like code and write some Python or JavaScript in order to solve their question. They give you like I think my question was you have a certain plain text and then you need to use Python code to encrypt it and then decrypt it again. Like, and you want to show and print out each message and you have a list of messages that you're inputting. So that was pretty cool. Like I was able to write the code to do that. And then that was like the first one. And once you get it right, like it'll tell you like, okay, you've completed this challenge. So I'm like, all right, cool. The second one, um, it's more like a little bit personality, like just asking you different questions and you want to do the situation, task, action, and result method of answering the questions in that structured way. And then the third one was give a 15-minute presentation. Mine was to do that about all my research. But one thing I did was I made sure I gave a presentation that was relevant to the company. So like I looked up their company values. And instead of trying to give like this super technical presentation where I'm talking about all this mathematics and stuff that is still significant to my research, I focused it on users. And the reason for that is because the company cares about users. Like, so I tried to spin my research in a way that like connects with them. And later on, like they did tell me like we really wanted you because we talked to people who like gave us a super boring like what I would do for my research lab. Like if I would have done that presentation from my research lab, they would have fallen asleep. Like if I would have given either group the wrong presentation, they would have not liked it. So I tried to like make it go towards my audience. But did a 15-minute presentation, answered the questions. And then the last one is I met the team and they just like talked to me and stuff and asked me a couple questions. So it was cool, but I definitely felt like it was a bit much and I never went through that before.
It just shows how smart you are as well. Because like as you're saying, you could have went like super intellectual on them and give them all these stats. But he's like, no, actually, let me get to their hearts. Let me get to their emotions. Let me get to like their user base and their company value. So I feel like you were very smart to not take the overly intellectual path and more so the emotional human path of it. So that's a smart. That's a lot of like emotional intelligence as well. So like that's a smart in general. But no, that's like and of course it was intense, but you made it through. You know, the fact you made it through is like a testament in itself. So that's definitely beautiful. And I want to ask you about the coding as well, right? Because this is something that like especially now with AI, a lot of people debate the value of coding or software engineering and all that stuff. But no, how did you learn how to code, and like what were the tools that you used to learn how to code?
Yeah, I I learned C programming first. There was an introduction to C programming class, and this class was actually prior to AI, like maybe like 5 years maybe ago. Like it was some time ago, and I remember like writing everything in VS Code and seeing an error, like having to Google it and then fixing it like that way for like my class projects and stuff. So I learned that one first. Um, and then I feel like I was like introductory, like into like it was like my intro into code, and I could do basic stuff. I never felt like I was like a real software developer. But I knew how to code to get something done. I did do like that class, and then I did some online resources too, like where I watched like YouTube videos, and then in the on the job I like learned the rest of it, and in the job most of my coding was also in C, so it kind of helped because it was like the same language. I never worked with like JavaScript or Python, and then when I came to Virginia Tech like 2 years, like last year, that's when like Python was really big, and AI also was really important too, because AI can write Python really well. So I was like kind of able to take, but then I also had a course where the teacher wanted us to write all our code like there, and we could not use AI. Like he would check and make sure that like no one's using it. Also, our internet was like disabled and stuff too. So like that kind of made me like be somewhat okay. Whereas like if I see an error in Python, I pretty much know like what's going on or how to fix it a little bit. Um, and then when I got out of that class, then I felt much more comfortable with Python. And from there, I've been able to do everything in Python, like even stuff from like creating a dashboard to show like my data set and like data analytics, and then calling different stuff for like even natural language processing, which is outside of cybersecurity. Like Python is like a really good like place to have from that. I still feel like there's so much that I need to learn when it comes to coding. Um, I think that AI is good and can be really helpful, but at the same time, as long as you know like how to do stuff on your own, at least to a degree, or how to find the answer. Like I think that's the thing. AI allows us to learn, like to figure out things much faster and learn things much faster. But I think it's positive personally.
And definitely, I want to give a shout out to your teacher. You said that he was making you code without internet, and I feel like this is like really the thing that like differentiates like like I guess old school software engineering versus like modern software engineering. Because back in the day, there wasn't even Google. You had to pull out like a textbook, or you had to speak to your
Yeah.
teacher or somebody to like literally tell you how to do everything. But now we have like Gemini and Copilot and Claude and everything that is kind of giving us the code. And of course, it can help, but I do feel like it can create like blind spots in your learning process. It's like you have to be very careful how you use it, because if you use it as like a like extension of your learning, is good. But if you're using it like as the core of your learning, and you're not, if you're not able to do what you do, you said that you were doing it without even having internet. So you're like officially like it's in your head. You can just do it in general. I feel like I feel like that's a skill that is still very much so needed because even if we have AI, even if we have internet, right, you should still be able to do it. Just all right. I'll use an example. It's like you having Google translate for you versus knowing how to actually speak a like language. Of course, Google Translate is cool, but if you know how to actually speak it, it's a wonderful thing. So that's like beautiful. Shout out to your teacher because especially in these days, that's almost like unheard of because everyone and the grandma is using like Gemini or Google or Claude or Stack like anything like that. And I wanted to ask you a bit more. So you know C, Python, and JavaScript. I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and what would you say is your favorite, or what would you say is, from your understanding, the differences between them?
Um. Yeah. I feel like C is like one of the first beginning programming languages. Um. That's good for like a lot of. It's closer to like on the hardware level. Like it's a more low level language. Um. A lot of your like things like Arduino or anything that's like not a whole big computer, but if you just like running it on a like it's good. It's good for like certain devices. C is good for certain devices, and it's kind of like the language that everything starts from. And then Python is a higher level language. Python has a lot more libraries that you can call that help you do things quick and easy. Like in machine learning, we have Scikit-learn, and that allows us to call like a bunch of machine learning algorithms and stuff. Python is like really powerful, and it's the one that like everybody's pretty much. I would say it's kind of trendy at the current time. And then JavaScript, I have the least experience with that, but I know like a lot of gaming stuff is written in JavaScript, like and maybe some internet stuff too. But I be right now. I say my favorite's Python, just because it's like so much you can do with it, and that's currently what I use. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Python is like taking over the world. It's almost like English at this point. You know, you got to know a bit of Python. I do feel like I'm going to go back to something you were speaking about earlier, and I feel like we overlap in this area because I'm biased towards C because I have to learn C because like the Linux kernel is written in C, and I'm like a Linux fiend. You know, so C is
Mhm.
pretty much the path I'm going down. But also, you're speaking about reverse engineering, and this is where stuff gets like pretty like in the nitty gritty because I was looking into assembly language as well, right? So I want to hear more about your reverse engineering experience and just in general what reverse engineering is for people who might not know.
Yes, reverse engineering is, um, I would say, it's when you have a piece of like software or hardware, and your goal is to take the software and hardware and learn from it. It's kind of like you have a clue, but you don't have the whole picture, and you have to use reverse engineering to find out more information about it. So, for example, you could be given like a cell phone or like even a cell phone that maybe has some water in it, and your goal would be like, tell me like whose phone this is, or tell me like what kind of phone is it, what is it used for. So, reverse engineering would be like trying to find the um, trying to pull software from it, trying to get the firmware, and then trying to read maybe the photos that's on it. You might have to decrypt certain parts, like, oh, this phone is using AES encryption, so I have to decrypt it first and then pull the photos off of it. But then the photos have different data, like, oh, this was taken here in this state or something. So reverse engineering overall is just trying to pull information from hardware or software. And C is important for that. Linux is important for that. Because if you know how Linux works, like pulling information from your iPhone or your Android becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, that stuff is super, super interesting. So I'm gonna definitely be asking for your advice and guidance once I go
Yeah.
deep on that path. And also, speaking about research, this is something I want to act like go pretty deep in because I know you're getting your doctorate now. You're almost done your doctorate, right? But I just wanted to ask you about your educational like trajectory, right? So where did you get your bachelor's? Where did you get your master's? And like what motivated you to go even further for your doctorate as well?
I went to Morgan State University for my undergrad, and that's a HBCU that's in Baltimore. I really loved Morgan. Personally, like growing up in Baltimore, I would always like pass by Morgan because my high school was actually on the same, like one of the roads of the school is Cold Spring Lane. So my high school was on Cold Spring Lane, and then my college was like literally down the street. So like where I used to live, I can catch the exact same bus and it would take me to my high school and it would take me to college. So like Morgan just felt like the next step. Like I had a lot of friends that went there and stuff. So I really loved it. Like I remember there were certain teachers that were difficult. Like I took calculus 2 and I remember that class was like really hard, but apart from that, like all the teachers, really supported us and were nice. One teacher even took us kayaking, and I never had went kayaking, and like it was also a scuba diving club. So to know how to scuba dive, you should know how to swim first, and I didn't know how to swim, but I still went scuba diving though because I was like I just want to go and everybody else is going. So it was just like it was definitely cool. Yeah, I feel like if you're from Florida, you probably swim and stuff.
I'm actually in the same boat as you. I don't know how to swim, but I gotta learn though, because I'm from Philly. But I gotta learn how to swim. But yeah, but it's funny how you didn't know how to swim, but you ended up scuba diving. That's pretty deep.
Yeah,
That's
you
pretty.
can. You definitely can because we just like went underneath and like we stayed by the shoreline, so we didn't need to swim that much. But it was really cool.
No, that
My
sounds like a beautiful
my cat's
experience.
right here. He
That's,
trying to be all in the mix.
yeah,
So
that's beautiful. Though.
and then after that, I went to more after Morgan. I went straight through and I went to UMBC and did cybersecurity, which was within their computer science department. My undergrad is in electrical engineering, and UMBC was good. Like I definitely just took my classes, stayed locked in and stuff. Um, and then I worked for like about 2 to 3 years, and I worked in DoD. And then I kind of like made a choice to go back to school. I liked what I was doing with the DoD, and I feel like I learned, but like I just wanted to like become like that subject matter expert. So I applied to the GEM program, and I highly recommend like anybody watching to apply to GEM or at least go to learn more about it. We can put the link in like the description and stuff. But I got into that program. Um, and from there, like my two biggest schools I was looking into was College Park and University of Maryland. I was looking into Georgia Tech and then Virginia Tech. But I really liked the advisor and everybody that I learned at Virginia Tech. So I was like, okay, chose to go there. They have a Blacksburg campus and they have like a new Northern Virginia campus. And I go to the Northern Virginia one. And that's pretty much my journey. But definitely Morgan was like where I feel like impacted me the most.
That's so cool to hear about. It's amazing seeing how people come from all these different spaces, yet like how people got to this cyberspace in general. So the current research, I guess you're pretty much about to finish, right? Right, in your doctorate,
Yes.
right? So what's been like the main research is like cybersecurity research, right? Or
Yes.
so how does that like run me through a process, right? Like how does that work? Like you're the professor, like, hey, we're researching this topic in cyber. Go study some stuff and bring it back to me, or like you're in the labs. Like how does the day to day work in that when you're just doing research all the time? Like how does that? Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah, like um I say a day for a student would be like you might spend 25% of your class time during doing your classes. So your classes would be things that's related um, in like a broad way. Like you would do information visualization, which is when you make graphs depending on data. So you might spend your morning time taking classes, and then in the afternoon you would do research. You would probably be expected to go into your research lab and like sit on your laptop and stuff. There, you would read some papers related to your work or related to your topic. You would meet with your other students, but then also meet with your advisor maybe once a week or at the very least once a month. They're going to give you some topic, like to a but it's still umbrella topic. Like one of my projects is in an intrusion detection system, and the goal of the project is when you have like a wireless device, my intrusion detection algorithm is going to be downloaded to the network to where it's reading like all of your network traffic, and it's going to be able to pick out like, hey, this one has a like very high probability that this one is malicious, so that then the human in the loop can come read it and make sure if it is or is not malicious. So it's kind of like a network scanner that we already have, but it's using machine learning. And it's also trained on your specific network data so that it's working at a higher rate. Like it's not just catching like, your main one. It would catch like someone that is supposed to be on the network, but still doing something that they shouldn't do. Um, but but there's a lot of it is like your responsibility as a student, like having to read on your own, and you kind of just go back to your advisor and have to report back to them. And I think the more time that you're in school, the less that the advisor will give in terms of like that direction. They're going to kind of slowly be walking backward and backwards the more that you kind of show that you can do on your own.
That actually sounds like quite fun. I'm not gonna hold you because I'm taking this training now, and it kind of sounds a little bit similar. But in your journey, it sounds like a good chunk of your journey has been in like the school and then with the DoD. I do want to touch on the DoD a bit more as well, but before that, what do you think about all these cyber like certifications, right? Because people say like, "Oh, go to cyber," and the first thing everyone in the grammar says, "Hey, CompTIA Sec Plus, CYSA," right? They have all these 50,000 certifications, right? So what do you think is the value of them, and do you have them, or do you think that they're necessary or like not necessary, or what are your views on that whole space in general?
Yeah, I do have some things to say about that. Originally, when I first got out of my master's program, I was trying to rack up a lot of certs because sometimes certs can help you qualify for like different, if you want to go and get different job titles, like within DoD, having certain certs like help you qualify for that. So I was trying to get a lot of them. I have Network Plus, Security Plus, and my next one was to go for CISSP. Like I wanted to go for that after like 2 years. And I also went for a CEH. So I have those three. But after those, I did not renew mine because I've personally just felt like once I have the PhD, it's like I don't need to have that and certs. But if I didn't go for the PhD, I definitely would have kept everything current. It can definitely like I feel like you have to study for like tests, and it like can cost money, and you have to like see if your company can pay for some of it. Um, I do think it's interesting though because a lot of those skills that I learned, like I personally got on like Try Hack Me, and I learned a lot in Try Hack Me, and that really prepared me for CEH. And I would almost say like Try Hack Me taught me more than CEH did, but I just wanted to get the real cert, you know. So I think like these certifications just offer you more opportunity for you to learn. And I personally learned a lot in those certs that I didn't learn in like my master's or undergrad. So it's just like a way to collect knowledge, I guess. But then there's also free ways too. Like like YouTube, I go to them and like I still watch videos and like take notes like on paper. And I feel like that's like the most important thing is like the knowledge, not necessarily the certs, but the certs just prove that you have the knowledge, kind of.
Yeah, this is I'm loving this conversation because you're bringing a perspective that I feel like there's a lot of camps in cyber, right? There's a camp, oh, go to college. There's a camp, hey, get a certification. There's a camp, hey, get a clearance. Here's a camp, hey, on like hands-on, try hack me. And there's a camp like conferences. It's like all these different recommendations, right? And you're one of the first or one of the few people that sees the value in college still, right? Which interests me, of course, because I'm planning to go back to school as well, right? So would you say that? So you were saying before the whole reason of you dropping the certs is like, bro, I got my PhD that proves more than these certs, pretty much, right?
Yeah, in a way.
Huh. I like that. I like that because it's like something like I don't. I like people who have their own ideas, right, and their own perspective. Because I feel like there's this narrative like, oh, you don't need college, you don't need certs, just get in, and it's like I
That's
don't
gonna,
think that route
I
works.
think
I
that's
mean, it
gonna
works for
be hard. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to do though.
right. It works for like a few people, like 2 or 3%, probably 10%, right? But I feel like for most people, it's not as easy as like these influencers might make it seem, right? But back to your DoD experience, right? How was that? I love to speak more about that because a lot of the guests we've had on here, a lot of them come from like the military or like the government background, right? So I'd love to hear your experience and how did you like it when you were there?
Yeah, I did like it. Like both my parents were in the military. Like they were both in the army. They actually met in the army. So when they heard that I was gonna start a job at DoD, like also my mom works DoD too, so she was really happy and everything. Um, and it was like I was very blessed that it was like my first job out of school. So, I was like, okay, got my big girl job. Like we set up now. So like that was really cool. Um, I would say for me though, I was one of like the youngest people. Like I've met very few people my age. I worked on like maybe one job. I was a software development analyst, and I was doing supporting a cloud team. And then the other job, I was doing like risk management framework. So like writing their monthly plan of action and milestone items, and like just doing like reporting. So like in the first job I had where I was just doing like risk management framework, I didn't have my hands on the keyboard. I didn't write any Python, no C. If I see a software vulnerability based on what I'm scanning, I have to hand that off to someone else, and then they have to address it. And then once they address it, they circle back to me, and then I update the paper trail and stuff. So that job was cool, and it definitely showed me like how things work, and I was able to see like part of what's in Security Plus, like see it in real life. But I really wanted to be technical. Like I really wanted to code. Like I wanted to build stuff and do robotics. Like I'm about all of that, and so like I'm trying to implement that in my job, and they're like, no, like that's not your stuff. You need to do this list of stuff because this is what your job says to do, and you can't do stuff outside of that. And if you want to do something outside of that, you got to wait this many years until you have the next job title, and then you would have more stuff that you can do. But you can't, like right now, there's no way towards that. So I actually was able to advocate for myself. And this is one thing I highlight every single person to do. On my job website, in my organization, there was new jobs that came up. And there was one that came up in a research and development team. And I actually looked at, like, I saw the org chart. I saw that job come up. And I actually emailed like the branch chief of that team, and I just emailed them my resume. I was like, hey, I'm really interested. If you have any opportunities, like even if I can't join your team full time, like if you just want to, we have this thing called matrixing, which means you can take an employee for part time. Like if you want to just matrix me in for a certain period to support something, I'm very interested. And I just emailed in my resume. And long story short, after some months, they like asked me to come in. And like the next fiscal year, I was able to join their team. And the research development team, like they were doing way more stuff. That's when they were doing reverse engineering, and they were actually putting their hands on keyboard and doing technical stuff. And so like that kind of did help. My experience on that team was really good, much better than the first one. But every single job and every single team I'm on, I would recommend if you can find a mentor that you would still talk to after you don't work there, so that you eventually start to build like this community. And honestly, like there's people that are my friends, like people who are like Blacks in cybersecurity, like people that I consider like I'm cool with them and like stuff. So going into that new team was good. And then from there, I worked with a lot of other doctors that were contractors. Like some were contractors, some were full time. And that's what kind of brought me to be like, okay, it's probably time to get a PhD, because like I'm working with them and doing research projects with them, and they're showing me like, we even published a paper together that I was like last author on. So I was like, okay, it's time to like go in this path. But honestly, I just wanted to be the person that like define the research project instead of like, maybe doing one task and supporting it. If you're the researcher, you like say, okay, this is project, this is the title. this is what we're going to do, like, because you're the expert in that.
This sounds like such a fun journey, honestly. And you said a lot of things that were very important. Firstly, being able to advocate for yourself in your career and just in life in general. You have to be able to advocate for yourself and know what you want to do. Because as you said, you wanted like hands on like keyboard. You wanted that type of work, right? So you being having the self esteem and the willpower to seek a opportunity, like, hey, I want to do that. I'm gonna send my resume and I'm going to do that, right? That's a very important. Like both of those things are very important. Like advocating for yourself and knowing what you want are both like extremely important. So definitely kudos to you for like that. And so with these research papers, right? Is it like you're saying like the higher the PhD, they're the one that starts it, and then there's like these underlings who don't have the PhD who are like adding to it pretty much? Is that how it works?
I mean, the way you're describing it is like, I mean, it's somewhat like that. I'll say like the person with the most experience will be your research lead. They are going to define the direction of the project, and then you would have supporting people on the project that say, hey, this person maybe helps with writing. This person helps with references. This person might help with maybe some of your code. They're still contributors, but your primary research lead is going to be that first person. Yeah. So I mean, I like how you said it though. That was funny.
No, because like that is how I just like visualized it in my head. So after you're done with your doctorate here, are you planning to go back to school as like a teacher or back to school as like a full-time researcher? Like what is your ideal trajectory after your doctorate?
My plan is to like work in industry for a few years, maybe about 5 years, maybe even 10. Like work in industry and gain that experience. And then maybe in the future, I also want to be. I'm trying to get a certification on how to teach like college classes. So to be an adjunct faculty, you don't need to have any official teaching classes. You can do it with your PhD or with your master's plus work experience. But for me, like I see a big gap in like current academics. Like it's so many people that are in classes and I feel like it's so easy to be lost or confused. Like teachers just give you this information and you have to learn like on your own. I want to be somebody that bridges the gap and like actually presents material in a way that like it's everything that the student need is given to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to make this hard for you to get, or I don't want to make this like a bad learning experience. To give people what I had, like when I went to Morgan, you know? So I feel like I would also want to like still teach either as adjunct or something like in the future. Um, Maybe my long-term career plan is to also have my own lab, have my own students, and like help other people get their PhD, but just not right now because I know that like that's a lot of work and that can be like I want to do industry first because like that's also my dream is to like be an engineer and do some cool contributions. Um, but I would love to like have like a group of students that like I mentor and like see them grow and stuff. I think that's important.
That is amazing. So, Professor John's cybersecurity research lab. That's lit. That's lit. No, that's beautiful. Honestly, I'm definitely I'm proud of you already, but I'm gonna be more proud of you as time goes on. So it's like I'm proud of you just for the future you as well. So I'm definitely excited to see him that. That's so beautiful. So what does Sydney do outside? Because we clearly you're highly educated research professor, lab, like you're in all that stuff, right? But what do you do outside of cyber and school? Like, what do you do for fun?
That's a good question. Like I love anime. So I like anime. I like playing video games. I currently like just was getting my office together. Like I bought like a new controller that's pink and like I'm trying to get my office to be like pink and stuff. Um and I also am starting to garden. So like I have a garden going on this summer. So I'm like growing my own food and like cooking with it. And I like kayaking still actually. So like I'll try to kayak. I like to cook. Like I like literally cook like 75, 80%. Like I only eat out on the weekends. So like I cook all the time. And yeah.
How are you? it's like yes, it's like you have so much cool stuff at the same time. Like I'm a professor, but then I'm a gamer as well, and I'm also cooking and kayaking as well. Like that's amazing, honestly. But so, what are your top five like animes of all time? No, your top four actually. Your top four animes of all time.
Okay, top four anime.
Yeah.
Um, so I really like Apothecary Diaries.
Mhm.
It's like a little romance little show. Um, no, that's the new one, like
Mhm.
newest, and then like the OGs like Naruto.
Mhm.
Um, I say One Piece, but I haven't watched all of One Piece, but I am watching the live action. So I'm telling everybody like watch the live action. If you're just trying to get into it at this point, because it's 1,000 episodes right now. So like nobody, the only people that have all 1,000, you had to already be in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what else will I say? It's like this one anime. It's on Netflix. It's called My Happy Marriage.
Mhm.
Season 2 just came out. I watched both seasons, but it's like a very like cute slice of life vibe.
Mhm.
So I say those four. And
Okay.
there's so many more. There's like Demon Slayer, very
Right.
popular.
Right.
Recommend that too.
Wow. Yeah, like it's cool because it's like a whole world. Because I used to be like super deep into anime, especially around like middle school, high school. Like I watched Naruto up into Shippuden, and then it was at the point where like the manga was coming out, and like the US didn't have like the dubs yet. So I was reading the
Hmm.
manga up into the Kaguya arc where they were fighting like Kaguya, like the god or whatever. So I watched like Naruto up into that, and then once Boruto started, I kind of stopped. I wanted to get into One Piece, but this is so daunting because 1,000 episodes, 1,000+ episodes is like it's a lot. But the thing is, I say that, but with Pokemon, I watch 1,000+ episodes.
Hey, okay.
But so it's just like interesting. But no, anime is definitely cool, and I'm excited to. It's cool that it's cool now because from
It
like 10,
is.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's like, oh, you're weird, but now it's a cool thing. So that's amazing. And you said that you cook all the time. So what is your favorite? I guess so. In cooking, are there like different? I guess it's like is there cooking like sub genres? I guess I don't know how to explain it. Like you know
Yeah,
how it's,
like
they have the
cuisine.
different yeah, cuisine. Thank you. What is your favorite cuisine in cooking?
Um, I make like I don't know, like my cooking, I make like tacos a lot, like
Mm,
chicken tacos, steak tacos. Um, I like I make steak on the grill sometimes. So like my steak, potatoes, different vegetables and stuff. Pasta. Like I do like spaghetti, but like the way people do spaghetti is like different. Like if you ask any two people how they do it, it's like gonna be slightly um they're gonna have their own way. So like I do that. And like I've been adding a lot of stuff from my garden to it, like my tomatoes, green pepper, red pepper, all of that. And like I like adding crushed red pepper to it. So like my spaghetti's like spicy. So that's kind of good. So I don't know. I just be meal prepping, doing my own thing.
yeah, this is so cool. Do you play Stardew Valley?
Yeah, actually, I do have that. I have it downloaded on Steam.
Yeah,
I have
you
Animal
remind me.
Crossing, which is just like that. Like Animal Crossing is like a similar
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah, you remind me like if a Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing character came to life, I'm like, that's you. Like, that's what you remind me. Like I'm gardening and then I'm playing and then I'm in school. Like that's so cool. So besides, she said Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing. What are your other games that you are getting into?
I play Sims. I got like 1,000 hours. I was telling someone I got 1,000+ hours in Sims, but I've been
Sims
playing
4?
Sims for like years.
Sims 4 or
Yeah,
which one?
Sims 4.
Sims is really good. I would like Sim. All right, go on. I'll let you finish first. Go on.
But I also recommend Paralives. Paralives is like this new game that just came out like 3 months ago, and it's just like Sims, but like they came out with already having diverse characters. So like with Sims, for us to get an afro in Sims, we waited like 3 years, and we had to get it using custom content to get an afro and stuff. But but with Paralyzed, they started with already having it. Like their Sims have afros, their Sims have little edges. You got different skin tones and stuff. So I highly recommend the game. And the game is like their base game has so much in it, and you're getting new drops like every week.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. I just installed that to my gaming laptop.
Yeah. No, I definitely got to look into that because Sims is a probably one of the most interesting series. Because I don't know. So this is totally off topic, but I remember I was in Philly, right? When I was in Philly, and I was playing Sims on my laptop, right? On Steam. And somehow I got an image of my Sims on my phone with my GPS location. And I was like, what? Because, Steam is a separate thing from the phone, right? These are two separate things. And I'm like, but how? And it was my Sims at. So, a lot of people like, oh, we're in a simulation. But like that experience really like bugged me out. I'm like, to this day, I still don't know what that has really bugged me out. But no, Sims is a very interesting series, just even on like a psychological, like just thinking about the premise of it. It's a very interesting series. But no, like the Sims is lit though, definitely.
Yeah, I mean it's all about like your different gameplay. Yeah. And like you have like other friends who play, so then like you can share your Sims or your houses that you build. Yeah. And like you can start some drama. Like Sims is all about the drama. And you got other people streamers, right? So like you could stream your game and like see like, okay, what they got going on in their game. Like whenever I play, I stream someone else's playing their game. And then I also have music going. So like I'm just playing, got my music,
Wait, when you're saying your stream, you mean like you stream on Sims or you stream on like a streaming platform like Twitch?
Yeah, like so I have streamers that I follow on Twitch, and when they play their game, like I have them, like I have someone else playing their game that's on one screen, and then I'm playing my game on my own screen, and then I also have lo-fi going. So like,
that's lit.
It's not like you're playing by yourself, even though it is a one-player game.
That's super cozy. Damn, I didn't even think about that. Because like we're gonna solve topic anyway. Streamer University is happening right now. I'm not sure if you're tapped into that, but the whole streaming world, that's all the subject. Anyway, back on topic, tech, cyber, because so the rest of the podcast will just be like video games and anime, but cyber tech, right? So, what is something that surprised you about the cybersecurity industry, or what's something that you see in it that you're not a fan of? Let's say.
That's interesting. There's probably not too much I'm not a fan of within cybersecurity. I think certain times, like certain spaces could be like people try to be like gatekeepy, like, and it's like weird because like I have felt that in certain times, like people try to gatekeep, but it's like you really can't gatekeep knowledge. Like anybody can learn this stuff. Like it's literally free out here. So like you really can't, try to be like that. So if there's anything I don't like, I would say like certain times, certain areas of the community, like cybersecurity, or just within certain like spaces, it could feel like a bit off, I guess. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's just an interesting space, and I guess like it's grown. But yeah, the whole gatekeeping stuff, I don't feel like I've experienced that yet. I pray I don't have to, because it sounds like you have had a really good like experience with your teachers and your classmates as well. So it seems that you have had a good experience. And I pray that experience to stay good for both of us. But
Yeah.
so outside of cyber, is there any other? Because I know you said you did front end and back end a bit as well. Is there any other? Well, firstly, is there any other space in cyber that interests you outside of the reverse engineering and research side of it? What's the other space that like really interests you?
I think like one thing would be like cybersecurity education, like going into like why I want to have my own lab and all that. If I could, like, I actually found some other people that research like just education in general, like people that do education research and then computer science education research. I think this would be like really like this is a cool area to look into for the future, because we need to increase like the amount of people that we have that are in computer science. But if I could look into like cybersecurity education, that'd be cool. And honestly, I'm the type of person where it's like once I'm on a team, like now that I'm on this co-pilot team and looking into like user behavior and how to make them more effective, it's like now I'm super interested in that, but that's just because I just gotta, just join this new team. So I'm probably someone that will change. Like I'll change what I'm researching every so often.
No, I like understood because it's cool to keep the energy fresh, and I feel like the education part, like we still like, as you're saying, we have a long way to go with that as well. I was gonna ask you, so with your gaming experience, right? Have you ever thought about mixing cyber and gaming? Have you ever thought about that? Or education, cyber gaming and education?
All right. So to answer about the how's gaming and so to answer F gaming and
Cyber.
cybersecurity has ever came together, there was a time where I was trying to make custom content on Sims. And I was like making like different t-shirts, like I would add shirts and headbands, and I was trying to do hairstyles and stuff because I really wanted to make Sims look more like real people. And then like the whole process of installing custom content, like you have to install it to a certain folder, and sometimes you have to do like a quick command line where you have to run the code first, and then when you run the code, it actually installs to your game. So it's like that did kind of like combine the technology piece because I had to be techie, but then it was also fun.
That sounds really cool. So like in I never because I know Sims is known for mods. Like Sims, like I think
Yeah.
out of all of the gaming platforms, it probably has the most expansion, DLC, and mod packs out of any game series I know. But do you know like what language they use on the back end for the coding?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is in JavaScript actually.
Okay.
Because that's one thing I was really looking into.
Mm. And you were speaking about at GitHub, you're looking at the Copilot analytics, like the tokens versus to commit ratio, right? So is this a thing that is like, is this a thing that's pre-built into Copilot, or is it a thing that customers have to sign up for?
Well, I think most customers are already signed up for Copilot.
Right,
Um, and GitHub is constantly pushing new features. Like,
right.
so the GitHub website that you see this year, you're going to see next year we'll have more things added to it. So our goal is just to like learn and find like more solutions so that the tool could be more helpful. People can get things done faster. Um, and so like, so that we're not getting in the way of anybody's innovation and progress.
And then that's so cool. And like, since you work at GitHub, right? What is some like insider? Now, what is some advice you could give us? Because they always say, update your resume, update your LinkedIn, update your GitHub, right? Especially if you're going more
Mhm.
down the software engineer path. What would you recommend to someone who's just starting off in cyber or just starting off in software engineering, and they were told, hey, update your GitHub. They don't even have one, like they're fresh, right? What would you recommend for someone who's getting in?
Yeah, like how me and you when we talked before, like how we both have our GitHub profiles. Like starting my GitHub profile was really interesting because when I did become an employee, they actually used my same profile. And so like in the organization when someone clicks on my name, like I actually still have my same profile picture and my same handle and stuff. So I would say having your profile, using the tool, and knowing like the different commands, like how you can do your commit and then you can push your code, how you can clone a repository or create your own repository, having your READMEs updated and stuff. These are good just to help you as a software developer in general, but it also is good for like if for working at GitHub because then they can see like if it's public, they'll be like, oh, I see this person does this, like so they know that you have like familiarity with what the company does and stuff. It's also a good way to meet other people. Like for research, a lot of people, every single paper is going to have their own repository. So when I go to their repository, I'm able to like pull their code and then I'm able to build off of it. For like, let's say my paper, I'm just going to take most of their code and then add my own thing to it. So it's like a good resource for like sharing. But I would just recommend like using the tool and becoming comfortable with it. And also like share your personal projects too. Like you could share them out on LinkedIn. And if someone's interested, they'll reach out to you and you could like make a friend that way too.
Yeah, definitely like combining them too is cool. Like having your GitHub and then posting it on LinkedIn, or having your LinkedIn and posting your GitHub. It's like it's cool to have like that cross collaboration between your online portfolios, I guess. And the other thing I would just toss for the GitHub as well. Example, my GitHub, my web page is actually using GitHub Pages, right? Which is like a free hosting thing for static pages. So every time I would have to update my website, I would have to do like the git pull, git commit, like I have to do those commands to even update my website. And then on like the GitHub, it looks cool because it's like I'm active on GitHub, but it's mainly because I'm updating my website. So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
And also, if you have any like different software tools you use like often, right? Just like search up the program you like, then type GitHub after it, right? And if it has a repo, you could just fork the repo, or you could start a like repo. So you at least you're like active in the ecosystem, so you could kind of keep track of the tools you use often. Because we use like 1,001 tools every day, but not everyone knows how the code for it looks on the back end, you know? So that's the thing I would recommend as well. So GitHub, PhD, Sims, kayaking. So what are some other skills you're thinking about building moving forward? Like outside of tech, outside of your career, what are some of the skills for yourself you want to build like throughout this year?
I think I want to like grow in like public speaking or sharing my story. Like I signed up for this one like mini program online and it was like teaching people how to be better storytellers. And I was just so interested. Like most of it was listening to other people. And then we had like some small time to share ours, but like just hearing from other people was very inspiring. So I would just love to like become a better storyteller and like just to inspire and to, like make a positive impact on others. Cause like my two things that are very important to me is like two words. One is innovate and the other one is inspire. And so I feel like, at this point, innovation, that's there. But I think there's a lot I can do in terms of like inspiring and having more people, like getting more people, helping them do whatever they want to do, whether it's tech, whether it's cybersecurity or something else.
Yeah, I know that this is definitely going to help in the inspire aspect, because like I know people going to like people going to watch it like, oh, I want to get a PhD, I want to be in cyber. Like, I guarantee you, but no, that's beautiful. And speaking about that, the public speaking, I believe you were speaking at DEF CON last year, right? Or you were a host there, or you were speaking there. I think you did both, right?
Yes, like so this year, I will be like organizing all our speakers. And if people would like to watch, a lot of them will be posted on our YouTube channel. This year at DEF CON, we have more speakers than any year before.
Wow.
Because there's 1 hour time slots, but there's also 30-minute time slots, which means like our schedule is jam-packed this year.
Yeah.
There's a woman cyber game changer panel that I'll be asking questions. There's a PhD panel. There's a like national service and military panel that'll be virtual. But we got some great speakers. So like definitely this year though, I'm actually not speaking by myself. I'm like co-speaking. So I'm just like help more this year. I'm just helping organize stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just person in the background making sure that everything happens.
Wow. No, like, and we definitely look forward to that. So when are the dates for DEF CON again? And when do you think the episodes of the talks will be released?
It'll be DEF CON is the 7th, 8th, and 9th of August. So like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I feel like for the panels, I would like us to go live. So if we have the like camera in order to do so, the Women Cyber Game Changers and the PhD panel They will both be live. They'll happen on Friday and Saturday at 5 p.m. around 5 p.m. Uh, Vegas time.
Sweet. Okay.
So they'll be live, and all the rest of them will go online afterwards. And people can also check on our Blacks in Cybersecurity website under BIC Village. All of our schedules there.
Sweet. No, yeah, well, we're definitely gonna be on the lookout for that, and also just leave the people with like any of your social media so they could like contact you. You know, your social media, any events you're going to, all of the big things you're. Just anything you want people to know, like leaving off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. And like overall, like thank you for watching and thank you for having me here. So my let me show y'all my handle. I just got this like
Hey, let's go.
It says Sid Kiwi. So my